Hello everyone.
We are
Hi.
live, sir.
Yep. Hello, Pragya. Hello. Change day 3 in a Saturday. Okay. उन्होंने देख लिया. They will change. Don't worry. Hello, Bhanu. Am I audible? Am I audible? Good evening everyone. Good evening. How are you people? Hope you did the assignments. Hope you will completed the assignments. Good evening everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good morning. Okay. Maybe you're out of India now. Okay, it was a mistake. Delete it. Mm-hmm. Let's go. Yeah. GDK is still not downloading. Did you try my link, Sangeet? The link that I posted on Let's Upgrade as an article. Did you try that? That is the exe file that I've uploaded on my drive. I feel if you download it from there, you can easily install it. So I think you should try. Yeah, I'll explain static once again. Don't worry. I have little things to explain once again. I'll explain few things in the recap. Don't worry. Good evening, Janardhan. Good evening. Sir, VS download but not working. Okay. Naresh, what is your OS? You can find my link. Okay, Sangeet, do one thing. You just go on Let's Upgrade community. Just type my name and find my profile. Just type my name and you can just go in my profile, see my articles. So you can download it there actually. Yes, you can use Java editor. Not a problem. Listen, as an assignment, we just need a file. That's all. So no matter where you code, that's not a problem. You can code it in an editor or a notepad. That is not a problem at all. We just need your file. That's all. Yes, it is okay, Sabarish. You can use JStudio, not a problem at all. You can use anything. It's totally fine. Yes, you can attend this, Nikhil. You can attend this and you can also follow with the last two lectures. Yes, we'll try to cover everything. Don't worry, Shubham. IntelliJ is not downloading, not a problem. Not a problem. I'll show you how to run your code without IntelliJ today. So you can just code it in Notepad++, or you can just download a very small Java editor, Sublime Text, and then you can just code on it. So anyone who is unable to find my link, JDK link, just go on Let's Upgrade community, find my profile. The name is Saurabh Gupta, and you can just see my article. I'll tell you at the end where to upload the assignments. Don't worry. Actually, all the links are in like the description box below, so you can see it there. Oh, Sangeet. Oh, so sorry about that, buddy. So I hope you followed up with the last session. Thank you, Tushar. Okay, let's unable to create GitHub account. Whenever I'm clicking join free plan, it's opening a segment without it. Okay, fine. Sripati will find some solution. Don't worry. If I find some solution, I'll post an article on this thing. I'll just see all your problems and don't worry, Sangeet. It's totally fine, buddy. You missed one lecture. That's totally fine. Okay, let's start with today's session. Good evening, Bishan. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to teach you today is how to run your Java file without using IntelliJ. So you just have to download JDK and you can use any kind of editor just like Notepad or any text editor that you have. You just have to save your file using .java extension. That's all. So let's see how to run a Java file without any code editor just by using JDK. Fine. So the most important requirement here is you should have an installed JDK. That's all. Not a problem, Sangeet, not a problem. You can still cover up, not a problem. Fine, so let's start. So what I'm going to do first here is I'll just open a text editor, a very simple text editor, that's all. I'll tell at the end, Karthik, don't worry. Fine, so in your Windows, it can be a notepad, that's totally fine. So what I need is just when you open a text editor, okay, actually I'll use VS Code, just totally fine with it. I'll just open it. Okay. First I'll create a text file. Java file actually, not a text file. Okay, let me close it. Fine. So let's create a new file on desktop. I'll create a new file on desktop. I'll tell you at the end, don't worry. I'll tell everyone at the end how to upload the assignment. Fine. So I'm just creating a file. Please, everyone focus and try to not ask questions in between. I'll definitely solve it. Like we'll have a doubt session properly in between the lectures. So at that time, you can ask all your doubts. So actually, if you ask in between, then it is like a lot tough for me to solve it right away. So keep your doubts with you. Once we have a doubt session, you can ask all your questions. We'll have like 15 minutes for it. We'll solve everything. Don't worry. I'll increase the font size a bit. I hope you can see it now. Hope it is visible to everyone. Yes, it's Saurabh Gupta. Okay, so I hope it is visible. So I just created a very normal text file. Let's save it on the desktop as something and .java. So we'll just name it, let's say test.java on desktop. So I'm just saving it as text.java on my desktop. You can save it anywhere. So I just named it test.java and I saved it, right? And now you can see as here on my desktop, I have a file test.java. Hope it is understood till now. So I just created a very normal file, a text file, and I saved it as a name. You can give any name, .java. Simple. Now let's create a class in here. And as I told you that the file name and the class name of a Java file should be same. And you try to always have only one class in Java file, and it should be always public. That will be basically your main class. So let's create a public class, and the class name should be test, as our file name is also test.java, right? Simple. Now let's just put our main function. So remember, right? Public static void main. You understood everything yesterday, right? So I'll explain static once again. If you have any problem, not a problem at all. I'll just pass the parameter as string args. I'll explain in some time what actually this is. And let's open and close the function. And that's all. And now let's just print a very simple thing. Don't worry, everyone. I'll tell you at then how to upload the assignment. Don't worry. System.out.println. And let's just see Java without any editor. Actually, I'm using an editor, but still it is not running Java. It is just creating a file form. So simple. I hope you understood this thing, this code, right? A very simple test.java file, which has a very basic test class and a main function and is doing nothing, just printing something. So basically, we're just learning how to run a Java file without using any editor. So now, done with the coding, and our file is on desktop. Simple, a test.java file on desktop. Now, wherever you are in Windows, in Mac, or in Ubuntu, or in some kind of Linux, some distribution of Linux, just open your command prompt, right? Okay, I have to see how to increase the font size now. Just give me a minute. Is my command prompt visible to everyone? Is my command prompt visible to everyone? So I'll tell the command if you can't see it. So now first, go to the location where your file is. So my file is on desktop, right? My file is on desktop. So in my command prompt, what I have to do, I have to just go. No, control plus is not a shortcut, buddy. So what I have to do, I just have to inside my command prompt, I just have to go to desktop. So wherever file is, go to that location, wherever your file belongs to. So I'll just make it CD. Desktop CD is for change directory. So whenever in command prompt, if you want to change directory, use CD command. So now I'm on desktop. In Windows, you can also use CD. So just find your location, CD to that location, and you'll be in that location. Okay, actually, I have to check how to increase here the font. I know in Windows, I don't need Ubuntu actually. Zoom in. Okay. There was a shortcut. Okay, Control plus plus. Okay, got it. But it's not working. Okay, fine. I'll just use that option. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. Okay, I hope now it is visible. Fine. Is it visible now? I hope it is visible now, right? It's pretty big now. Yes, Raylan. Cool. Fine. So now I'm on desktop. So in Windows also, you can just go to a location where your file is stored. And now what you have to do is, if you have installed JDK, this command will be available to you. If you have installed JDK properly, this command will be available. The command is javac. Let's run it and see. If this command runs properly, so basically it will show you some like helpful commands. If you have not installed JDK, this command will show error. That is it is not recognized. So let's see. I have run this command and I've got all the options. That basically means JDK is properly installed in my computer. Now I'm on desktop and my file is also on desktop. So what I just have to do is I have to write javac. That basically stands for Java compiler. Java compiler and just the name of your file. So my file name is test.java. So basically what I'm saying is, okay, Java compiler, please compile this file for me. So now after compilation, basically I'll have a bytecode file, a dot class file, right? Let's see. Javac test.java. So basically I'm compiling it. Okay, there is a problem. Oh, the problem is I wrote my string in lowercase. So I just have to make it caps. Now it's fine. Save it. This run debug has been like put in by the VS Code. I have not done that, so don't think of it. Save it again. Now again go in your command prompt, compile it again. So javac test.java. So whatever errors you have, the compiler will show you. So now I don't have any errors or either any messages. So that basically means it's totally fine. The file has been compiled. And if we go on desktop now, you can see now you have a test.class file. So now you're having a test.java and now you again have a test.class file. That basically means the file has been compiled. Is it clear? The file has been compiled. And now what we have to do the next step? We have to run this class file. We have to execute this class file, right? So again, it's pretty simple. To execute a file, so to basically the first command javac is for compiling a file. To run a file, you have to just use Java. And now you just have to mention the file name. It will automatically get the class file, and that's totally fine. Java test. Enter, and now you can see the output. Java without any editor. Is it fine? Is it fine, everyone? So this is how you run Java without using any kind of editor, without giving any load in your PC. You can just use Notepad or Notepad++ or any kind of like VS Code or anything and just run it like this. That's totally fine. I hope it is understood now. But just for like saving some time, we're not going to use this. We'll use our own IntelliJ platform that we installed. Fine. Okay, that's amazing. Everyone is clear. So that's all. You can use this if you don't have IntelliJ and everything. Cool. So I just close my editor now. So let's just close it and let's open yesterday's project. Fine. So let's open it. So it's working a little slow again. IntelliJ. Take a little time. It will open. Yes, you can use Eclipse Lambda, not a problem. Yes, Vishnu Priyan, it was by command prompt. Yes. So I used Ubuntu's command prompt. You can use Windows command prompt. It's totally the same. You just have to. Okay, the agenda is first we are going to learn how to take user input. Then we are we will move on to conditions, then loops, then arrays, and then finally array of objects. So this is the agenda of today, and we'll try to complete it. Okay, Parth, have you installed JDK? Yes, you have to set path. Not a problem. Just after lecture, I'll post an article on the Let's Upgrade community, how to solve that problem. I think here, Varen is posting it. Someone, if you find it, please post the command. Which app is compatible for Android? JStudio. We talked about it yesterday, right? JStudio is the app. You can use it. Part, don't worry. That is a very normal problem. We can solve it. Yes, 90% of the times the path is set by default. In some cases where the installation has not been done properly, Venkat, then only you get the path problem, and then you can just solve it by setting the path in Windows. And that's normally a Windows problem actually. It doesn't occur in Linux a lot of times. So don't worry about it, Venkat. 90% of the times when you install JDK, the path is set automatically. If there is some problem faced at the time of installation, JDK is installed, but the path has not been set. So you have to just go and write a simple path, and that's all. And don't worry, Parth, if it is a problem, I'll just post an article on how to solve it. It's very simple. It's just the 3 commands that you have to do. Just have to go in environment variable and set 2 paths, and that's all. And set Java home. Fine. So here, our IntelliJ is open now. So I'll just delete this yesterday's. Okay, let's focus. So yesterday we learned static, right? Yesterday we learned something called as static. Yes, Venkat, that might be a problem. So please focus again. So yesterday we learned something called as static, and we understood that whenever you create something as static, it is made for the class and not for the objects, and it is only made once and is accessible by all the objects. And basically, whenever something is static, you always access it with the class name. You always access it with the class name. So here in your system.out.println, you can basically see that you're accessing this out property by directly using the class. You're not creating an object first, like system s equals to new system and then calling s.out. You're directly accessing this out property using the system class. That basically means this out property is a static property in system class. So wherever the system class is, this out is a property in that class and it is static. Is it clear, everyone? That's what we understood yesterday, right? So whenever something is static, you always access it with the class name. And in here, we are accessing this out by directly the class name of system, right? Perfect. Fine. Now let's try to understand once what actually the system class is. So system is a class, and let's see how it works. So system is a class which is by default available in java.lang package. That basically means java.lang is already imported, is by default imported in each and every file you create. That's why you don't have to import anything to use this system class. If java.lang was not by default imported, then we have to import some kind of package and then use this class. But java.lang is by default imported. So that's why you can use system directly. Second thing, what actually is the significance of system class? System class has all the properties and functions to work with your system. Now, when I say system, basically it's your machine. System class helps you to work with the current system that you're working with. That's so simple. So in this case, in my computer, in this case, the system basically defines my computer. So if I write system.out, so basically output of the system, that is the screen, it will show on the console, the screen where I can output. If I say, okay, fine, I want to take input, so system will have some kind of property for that, like system.in, to take the input from the computer. So wherever you write the system class, the system belongs to the current machine you're coding it in, or current machine you're running it in. Simple. So system belongs to the system that the code is in running. Is it clear, everyone? Is it fine? So whatever properties we have with system will be applicable to the system, the machine that we are using. So system dot Out is the property part. Out is a property, and println is not a systems function. It is out function. It is out properties function. System is a class. System is a class. System is a class. See, you can see it here. It is something like this. I'll just write it somewhere. I'll just write it somewhere for you people. Somewhere it is defined it like this. Yes, you don't have to import because java.lang is by default imported. That's so simple. Something where, like in the packages, it is written like this: system, like class system, and it has a print stream object out, and that is static. Understood it? Do you understand this? And just like our employee class is in com.employee package, our system class somewhere is in java.lang package. Is it clear, everyone? So somewhere in the packages, there's a package named java.lang, just like com.employee. Just like com.employee, there is a package named java.lang in which system class is defined like this, and where the out property is a static property, and that's why wherever we use it, we just write system.out. Is it clear now? Not a problem, Ayushi. It's totally simple. Once you understand it, it's totally simple. Actually, you don't have to work with system. Like, you just have to work with it. You don't have to understand like what is going behind the scenes, but it is good to know what is going behind the scenes. That's why I'm just trying to explain everything. So somewhere in the packages, there is a java.lang package where system class is defined like this, and it has an out property which is type print stream, and it is static, and that's why we're accessing system.out. Right? If you remember, print stream is a class. Again, it's a class which helps you to print something on the stream where the program is running. That means in a computer on the console. Print stream deals with the output stream of the computer. Getting it? Print stream deals with the output stream. That means wherever you want to show the output of the machine. Is that like that's something internal? So don't worry about it. That's something internal. So out is just a property that will help you to print something on the console, and that's all. And it is static. Is it clear, everyone? Are we understanding this thing? That's why we have system.out. And inside somewhere, there is also a print stream class. Right? There is also a print stream class which has a method named println. Something like this. So that's why we can call system.out, because out is present in system and out is coming from print. So out is basically object of print stream. That basically means it can call any kind of method that is present in print stream, and that's why we can call println. So this is how the sequence goes of system.out.println. Okay. I'll do that. I'll explain static. Don't worry, Sangeet. I'll explain static in some time. Don't worry. I'll explain. Don't worry about it. Sangeet, don't worry. I'll explain static. Okay, I'll slow down. Don't worry. Because this is the thing that we understood, like static and everything. That's why I was just explaining it a little quick. Because this is not we are focusing on today. I'll compile Jaya Prakash, don't worry. Is it clear? Yes, Parth, this is the sequence that like how it goes. So it basically depends on how you make your classes. Yes. So out is basically the output stream, and println is a function which helps you to print, which helps you to write what you want to print. No, println is not static. We have to check actually, because we are calling it with the object. It is by Govind Sharma, it is by default included. Don't worry. So this is like the behavior of system.out.println. That's all I wanted to like show you people. So otherwise you can just like leave it for now, and you can just understand, okay, fine, this is something that you use to print. That's all. Understand like this. So if you want to like get it, this is how it works. So system is a class in which out is static, and out again is the object of a print stream class which has the println function. Yes, out is the object, Shubham. Out is the object. We can't use it, right? Because if something is a function, we have to use the object. Right now, I can't PSPK because it will take a little time. It might be public, it might be string. Actually, it's an overloaded method, so don't worry. Yeah, it might be public. It's not void because it is returning some. It is just printing actually. So you don't. I think it's void. It's void actually. It's void. It's not returning anything. So something like this. That's all. And some inside that there might be some printing logic. That's all. Yes, out is object of print stream class size. Yes. Static is not data type. Don't worry, Sangeet. I'll explain. Don't worry, Sangeet. I'll explain. Object is a reference type, Saurabh. We explained it, right? Object is a reference type, and they can both store some kind of data, but object stores references and variables store normal value data. I'll make this assignment at the end. Don't worry. I'll make the assignment at the end. So are we cleared with system.out.println? Okay, fine. I'll just clear the doubt of static. Don't worry. Just give me a second. I'll not hold it up because a lot of people are asking it. So I'll just clear it right now. Now see everyone, I'm just clearing the doubt of static. I'm just using my Jamboard again. Okay, I'm clearing the doubt of static. Just see here now. Please everyone see here now. Let's do it. I'm explaining it now. So let's assume first that you have one class, right? You have one class. So let's say you have a class. So this is a class, right? This is a class which has, let's say, two variables. So integer A and static integer. Static is basically a keyword. That's all. B. Fine, simple. So assume it like this. So this class name is, let's say, demo. Fine. And somewhere in the bottom, somewhere in the main function, we create object of demo. So demo would be equals new of demo. Fine. Is it simple? Is it simple till now, everyone? So we have a class named demo, which has two variables, integer A and static integer B, and we have object demo D equals to new demo, right? And let's say we have one more object. Demo D2 equals new of demo. So these are the two objects that we have, right? These are the two objects that we have. Now what actually happens when you create objects? So what actually happens, whatever features are in the demo class, whatever features, when I say features, that basically means all the properties and all the functions. All the properties and all the functions. So these variables are nothing but properties, and the functions that we create are there. So when you create an object of a class, like D, so again, it also has all the features that a class has. The object has all the features that a class has. So D also have this A and B, and D2 also have this A and B. But now, what happens when you make something static? So this A is not static. So what will happen? This A will be made for D once, and this A will also be made for D2 once. So both can hold different values. So D will have its own A and D2 will have its own A. Are we understanding it? D will have its own A and D2 will have its own A, because they are like two different objects. So they have all the features, but they have independently. So D have all the features and D2 also have all the features. But when you create something static, static things are not made for the objects. Static things are not made for the objects. They are only made for the class. So basically this B is a static. So B is not made for D or D2. B is directly made for demo. B is directly made for demo. But D and D2 can use it. But they are like not the objects, they are the classes. So if D, like for example, if I say Okay, if I say A becomes 2, if B's A becomes 2, D2's A will not affect. D2's A can hold something like 5 or 6, not a problem at all. But if B makes changes to B, if it makes B 5, and now if B2 also makes, like, let's say, if B2 makes changes to B, like B equals to 9, so B will be 9 for everyone. B will be 9 for everything. Because B is only made once and only for the class. So D1 and D2 access the same B. So if you make something static, it is only made once and all the objects access it only. That's all. B becomes global between the objects. So B is a single value which is accessed by D, D2, D3, D4, D5, any of the objects. Simple. So if you make anything static, it is only made once and available to all the objects. And if you don't make it static, it is available separately for D and D2. Yes, Sangeet, it is a static value. Do you understand it now? Are we clear with static? That's amazing. I hope now anyone will not have a doubt. Cool. So it applies to methods, it applies to classes. Whenever something is static, it is only made once and for the class. And all the objects can use it, but it will be same for all the objects. If any object makes changes, it can be seen by all the objects. They don't have it personally. It's common to everyone. Fine. Now let's move ahead. Whenever you see some things accessed directly by a class, that basically means they are static. Now let's move ahead. Let's learn how to take input from user. Let's learn how to take input from user, right? So let's leave this employee class for a minute and let's just try to understand how to take input from user. Let's leave this employee class for a minute here. Let's delete this and let's see how to take input. So just like you use system class for outputting something, you also use system class for inputting, but system is only related to the system, right? So now to take input, you have to use something called as a scanner class. Remember this thing, to take input from a user, you have to use something called as a scanner class, which is not by default available because it is not from java.lang package. It comes from a package named java.util. To perform input operations, you have to use something called as a scanner class, and it comes from another package, and the package name is java.util. So there's a package named java.util, and we have to use scanner class from that package for the input. Understanding my point? Is it clear, everyone? So we are using scanner class. But now, as I said, scanner class is not by default available. It comes from java.util package, so you have to import it. So let's see how to import a package to use a class present inside that package. And it is very, very simple. You just have to write import and the package name. And the package name is java.util. Now, if you see inside util package, a lot of classes are available. See, a lot of classes and packages are available. But we just have to use one class, right? We just have to use only one class. That is okay, fine. I want to use scanner, and that's all. So if you decide, okay, fine, I want to use scanner class, so you can import the package name dot class name. So java.util is the package, dot scanner is the class, and that's how I have imported. So now you can assume, okay, fine, scanner class is directly present here, and I can use the object of scanner class. Is it understood? I have directly imported the scanner class in my main.java, and now I can use it. Yes, you can import all the classes. If I want to import each and every class from util package, I can just write star here, asterisk. So now what will happen? Each and every class from util package will be imported, and that's actually a problem because I only want to use a single class, but I'm like importing hundreds of classes. That will basically like put some load on my program, on my application, and that's why don't like pull everything from the package. Just only use those things which are required so that you like remove the extra load, right? So I just want only single class, so just mention it so that only single class is imported. Yes, that's why. So we are just using scanner. And now let's create an object of a scanner class because we want to call it functions, right? We have a class and we want to use functions of it to take some input. Now, so scanner basically is a class which helps you to take input. So I'm creating the object scanner sc equals to new scanner. Simple, simplest way to create object. But a scanner class is only made to take input, but it doesn't know like from where to take input. It can either take input from a satellite, it can like takes input from anywhere. Scanner is made to take input and it can take input from anywhere, from network, from satellite, from PC. So you have to like make the scanner understand from where you want to take the input. So which stream are you going to use? So I'm just saying, okay, fine. You have to take the input from system.in. Just like system.out, you have system.in. So system.out is used to use the output stream of the system to give output, and system.in is used to get the input stream of the system, that is the keyboard. So now my scanner class understands, okay, fine, I want to take the input from the current system's input, that is the keyboard. Is it clear? Is it clear now? So I've created scanner class as object and told him, okay, fine, you have to take input from the system's input stream, so system.in, just like system.out. Is it clear? Yes, Parth, you can connect. You can connect. But there is a way of doing it. So understand it, the scanner can do anything, can take input from anywhere. You just like don't have to ratify or mug up this. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the only statement that I have to write. String is a class. String is a class, and whatever you create is an object, Ravi Shekhar. If it is a class, it will create objects. Fine, cool. Now let's try to take an input. Now again, if you want to take an input, you have to create a variable. Very, very simple. If you want to take an input, you have to store it somewhere, right? If you want to take an input and want to display or work with it, you have to store it somewhere. So again, you need a variable. So let's create a variable. So I just create integer num, and let's try to take a number input. Now let's just print any random thing like, okay, fine, enter the number, enter a number, just so that user should know, okay, fine, I have to enter a number. So this printing is just for some decorative purpose and it does nothing. It just shows the user, okay, fine, I want to enter a number. This is not helping in like taking the input. This is just helping in to make the user understand that you want to give an input. A lot of people think that writing enter a number and taking input both are connected and you have to write it like all the time, but it's not mandatory. You just write it to display to the user, that's all. Writing output and taking input are not connected. And now let's try to take input. So this is how you take input. First, write the variable in which you want to take the input equals to the scanner class object. And now which kind of input you're taking? A number input, and it is integer. So next int, and that's all. Now it will help you to take an input and store it in num. So this line will take an input from user and store it in num. Simple. These two are not connected. This is just a message. This is the actual input line. Is it clear, everyone? And now we also have to confirm. Explain what? This thing? Actually, it's simple. Like I know that, okay, fine, I want to take a number input, but now I have to store my input somewhere, right? If I take input from a user, I have to store it somewhere. That's why I created a variable. Yesterday we learned we have to store, like use variables to store something, right? So again, my variable and then scanner class dot next int, because the data that I'm getting, the data that I want to store is an integer data. That's why it has a method named nextInt. NextInt is a function of a scanner class which helps you to take input from user, take an integer input from user. Saurav. Okay, let's explain. If I don't write this line, if I just comment it out, let's see what happens now. Please check it out what happened. Then I'll explain. Yes, yes, Mohammad Ali, yes. Now, how will we confirm that, okay, fine, I got the value? You have to use this term to show to the user that, okay, that he understands, okay, I got the value. So let's try to print the number. And yesterday we saw how to do it, right? And now someone was asking the shortcut to print system.out.println. So you can do this. You can just write SOUT and enter, and that's all. The shortcut. Simple again. SOUT is the shortcut, and that's all. System.out.println. Now let's print the number. Now. And I'm also showing you what happens without this line, right? Let's remove the line. Now this program will execute and we are printing nothing. We are printing right now nothing. We are just taking the input from the user on the first line. Let's run this program and see what happens. Let's see what happens now. So now I have my output here. But now if you show your output to a normal user, how will he understand or she understand what I have to do here? Because it is completely blank. As a program writer, I know fine, I have to give an input because it is waiting for input. But as a normal user, how will he understand what you have to do here? Because it's just a blank screen. I know that, okay, fine, I have to give some input. Like I have give 67 and it is printing 67. That basically means okay, fine, I'm able to get a value from nextInt. I'm storing it in num and I'm printing it. But the user will not understand what to do at first. And that's why we had a line system.out.println, like before the input, as enter the number, so that the user can see what he has to do. That's all. Now if you see the output again, let's run this program again. I'm going to show you, don't worry. See, now we have entered the number. You see this? We have entered the number now. So now I can understand. No, Sripati, it is a shortcut in IntelliJ. It's not available in NetBeans, I feel, because I used it quite a time ago, but it was not available. Jacob, we are just learning core Java here, buddy, right now. nextInt by default parses it to number. nextInt. So now if I put a number, I get it. Remember when we were not using scanner class, when we were using like data input stream for taking inputs, it by default takes a string. And then by using parseInt, you have to convert it into a number. But nextInt does it for you by default. It gives you a number. You don't have to parse the values coming from nextInt. It by default gives you a number. Jagdish, are you clear? If we use data input stream, that takes only strings from user. So even if you take number, it takes as a string and we have to convert it. But when you use nextInt, it by default takes a number. So can we remove new line character after enter number? It is by default, buddy. You just have to do it. You can do it if you remove the ln from here. So it is only if you decide print, it will not go in new line, it will be continued in the same line. So you can just try it, not a problem. Yes, Mohammad Ali Ansari, you can just do it. Yes, buffer reader is another way of taking input, Pallavi, but we are not using it. We are just learning it with scanner. I'll also show you how to use buffer reader in some next lectures. Don't worry. Yes, let's try. Let's try to get a float value now. Float num2. Fine. So I'll try to get 3 values. So again, system.out. I'll just write SOUT. Enter a float number. Now, num2 equals SC, the object of scanner, dot next float. You have it. Simple. Okay. And now you can just go on and print second number as well. num2. Simple. Is it clear? Listen, if we use buffered reader or data input stream, so whatever input you take, either a number or a string, everything comes as a string. So even if you write 23, it will come as a string. And if you want to use just 23 as a number, so you have to convert it using parseInt. Because in data input stream and buffer reader, everything comes as a string and you have to convert it into a number if you want to use it. But by using scanner class, whatever you take, it comes with its actual type. If you take string, it will come as a string. If you take integer, it will come as an integer. You don't have to convert them then. I'll explain it, but don't worry, I'll explain it. It's like a little bit of explanation. I'll explain it, not a problem. Listen, I'll just explain it. I'll just explain it, right? So let's assume I'm using buffer reader. Fine. Let's assume I'm using buffer reader. Fine. So let's say I'm just not making it very clear. I'm just writing it. So let's say I'm using buffer reader B equals new buffer reader, right? Something like that. I'm not explaining with the example. I'm just writing it. Something like this. And now if I just go on and write, see here please. Now if I just go on and write num equals to b dot get data. Let's say if there's a method named get data in buffer reader. So now if I say b dot get data and I want a number, but this b dot get data always returns a string. B dot get data always returns a string. So even if I write 23 in input, this 23 will come as a string, something like this. And I cannot store a string in a number variable. So for that, what I do, I just go here and write integer dot parse int. What this function does is it converts string 23 to a number 23 and then stores it in num. Is it understood now? It is understood now. So buffer reader input function gives you a string value, and again you use integer to parse int to convert into a number so that you can store it in a number variable. But in case of nextInt, it does it internally. It takes the input from the user, converts it into a string, and then stores it. So you don't have to write that extra line. Yes. Have we understood now? Are we clear with this? Yes, that's why we are using scanner. Scanner makes everything simple. You don't have to use buffer reader. You don't have to use data input stream. You can just use scanner class. That's all. Okay, let's move ahead now. Okay, let's try to take a string. Okay, I think we didn't run this program, right? Let's run it. Let's run it. So we will take a normal integer, a decimal integer, and we'll just print it. So let's see. Yes, Sangeet, yes. So let's write a normal number like 23 and let's write 45.67 and see. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? Next is for normal string, very like simple, a one word string. Now let's move ahead and let's try to use a string. String name, right? A very blank thing. And now let's just come here, write system, enter your name. And let's go. Name equals sc dot nextLine. nextLine is to take string input, scanner class. Now let's just print it. Simple. I'm showing you, Anshika, don't worry, I'm showing around everything. So let's run this. This is how you take string. Let's see, I've run the program. Now, okay, fine. So let's do the number 34 Let's give it a decimal number 67.767 and let's give it a name. Okay. Now there's a problem. See, now you have a problem. Everyone, please check here now. You have a problem. My input for name was skipped. My input for name was skipped here. And now why this happened? Try to understand this. Why this happened now? Let's try to understand. Now what actually happens is when I took the input for, let's say there's an execution control. nextLine method takes in the return character or not. Yeah, it returns the values, right? It returns the values, it returns the characters that you take as an input. Please see, we have a problem here now. Please see what is happening here. So after my next float, my string input was skipped. It didn't show me this system.out.println and enter your name. Maybe I didn't save it. Let's try. Let's see first if this is saving problem. Let's see. If it is not, then we have to solve it. Okay, see it now. It is printing, but it is just going. It is not allowing me to take input. Yes, nextLine is used to take string. Yes. Yes. Now I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. Now I'm going to show you how to solve this problem. See now what is actually happening. Let's try to understand what is actually happening here. So I'll open the Jamboard again. Where's my Jamboard? See it here now. So what is actually happening here? Yep. See. So now at first time, the nextInt is being like used. So when I'm using nextInt, okay, the execution control is like this. I took the int user. Okay, how can I explain this to you? It should be very simple actually. It didn't skip the line. That is the problem. Yes, nextLine is used for string. How should I explain this to you? It's very easy actually. Let's start to explain. So let's assume there is an execution control that is working between nextInt and nextFloat, like nextFloat and nextLine. So what is actually happening? When I took the input using nextInt, the execution control was there only. Then I used nextFloat. It came down and took the float value, and it was only present there. And when I tried using nextLine, nextLine was used directly to just come in the next line, and it didn't take an input. It just helped me to come from the float line to the next line, and we were unable to use the next line actually. So now what we have to do is, so my next line has been used just to get the execution control out from next float to the next line. So what I have to do, I just have to write a blank sc dot next line here. Now what will happen? After executing this line, if my execution control is present here only, this next line will be used to bring it down, and after that, this will be used to take input. Is it clear now? Yes, next line is used for string. Are we getting clear? This next line will help the execution control to come out of the next float, to come out of the next float to the next line, and then this next line will be used to take the input. In previous time when I didn't have this, when I didn't have this line was just using to skip the line. That's all. Yes, I'll explain. Yes, this only happens with string. Yes. Okay, see it now. This only understand this. This only happens with string a lot of times. Actually, all times. So what happens when I use nextInt, right? The execution control stopped here. Let's say that cursor is my execution control. So when I use nextInt, the execution control stopped here. Perfect. Then when I use nextFloat, it came down and took the float input. But after the float input, it was present here only. It was present here. After the next float, it was only stuck here. And when I use this next line, the next line was just used to take the cursor down, the execution control down. And hence, it was not taking any input. So what I did, I wrote an extra next line here in between my string input. So now what will happen? After nextFloat, this next line will be used to take the execution control down, and then this next line can be used to take the input. It is the feature of next line, buddy. It is the feature. Yeah, it is used for string. No, it will not. If we use next line first, it will not skip after that. It printed enter name. It printed enter your name. See, it printed it, but it didn't allow me to take any input. That was the problem. It printed enter your name. See, it printed, but because of the execution control skipping, it didn't allow me to take like enter an input, and that's why I wrote an extra next line here. Is it clear? No, it is not the problem with nextFloat. It is the problem with nextLine. It does this all the time. It only happens with nextLine. Yes, you have to follow this always. Just one line, and that is not a basic, like very big execution. That's why you can just take all your strings like at the first line. Put all your strings at the first line. Yes, let's run the program and see. Now let's see. Enter the number 23, 45.67, and see now it is stopping here. Now I can write. Yes, that's what we did, right? We used two next lines. Because here the first next line will be used to skip. The first next line will be used to skip, so it will not take any input, and the second next line will take the input. That's simple. Is it clear now? This is the problem with next line. Are we clear with this, everyone? Yeah, this is the only thing clumsy. That's all. Baki, like the rest, everything is very, very easy. It's pretty simple. That's all. A simple output statement and a simple input statement, and then simple. Not after every next float. Wherever you use next line, it skips. Wherever you use next line. So what you can do, I feel you can, instead of next line, you can use normal next. Maybe let's try this. Just next. I've just commented the line, and let's just do this. Because next line always goes to the next line for execution. That is the problem with next line. So let's just use next instead of next line, and let's see what happens. See it now. See now. So next totally works. Next works fine. It is only the problem with next line. Next line first puts the execution control from the same line to the next line. Takes the execution control from the same line to the next line. So that is the by default execution of next line at the first time. And that's why we have to write it once again. So instead of next line, you can directly use next. So instead of next line, you can directly use next. That's totally fine. But if you use only next, you can only take a single word, not a complete line. No, it is not a bug. It is not a bug, Franklin. It is not a bug. Because next line is used to take a complete sentence. Next line is used to take a complete sentence. So that's why the by default feature is to like come at the next line first and then take the input. Because if it continues the same line, it will take that input also in the same line. That's why next line skips that line first, comes into line, so then you can start a complete new sentence. That is the feature of nextLine, because it has to take a complete sentence. So it has to come in the new line first. Understand the problem here. It has to come in the new line first so that it can take a complete sentence. Fine. So for a single word, you can just use next. That's totally fine. For a single word, you can directly use next. But when we use nextLine, what happens here is, see, after the nextFloat execution, just try to understand. What happens here is, after the nextFloat execution, the execution control is here only. And now when I use nextLine, now what is the default feature of nextLine? Go to the nextLine and take the input. So what it does, this nextLine, what it does, it just goes to the nextLine first. And now the execution has ended. And that's why this nextLine was only able to go to the new line. That was the problem. It was unable to take any input. That's why we wrote a blank nextLine. Because nextLine is used to take a complete sentence, right? So now what will happen? After nextFloat, the execution control will be here only, and this nextLine will pull it down, and then this nextLine will take the complete sentence from there. Yes, next only takes a single word, nextLine takes a complete sentence. If you want to take a complete sentence like with spaces and everything, you can use nextLine. If you want to just take one word, you can use next. That's fine. Is it clear? Both are string functions, but one with spaces, like you can take complete sentences, and one only for single word. So right now you can just use next instead of nextLine. But just keep this in mind. This is not explained everywhere. They just write it and just leave it, because nextLine is not used like a lot of times. Like there are very rare times when you have to take complete sentence from user. Is it fine, anyone? Nijan, then it just skips it. Don't take an input. It just skips. It is just used to go in the next line. It doesn't take any kind of input from the user. Is it clear now? Are we clear with this? Okay, perfect. So these are, now you can just experiment it. We can use next short, next byte and everything. Now let's move ahead. So now you know how to take input from user, right? Now you know how to take input from user, and we're going to use it. What happened if we don't give the line in string? I'm not understanding your question, buddy. Fine. So now you have understood how to take input, and same like nextInt, nextFloat, you can use next byte, next short, next boolean, right? So it is just pretty much self-explanatory. So you can just go on and try it. Not a problem at all. And I'm going to use it in future lectures. Don't worry about it. So now let's move ahead and try to learn the next thing. Yes, Sangeet, please ask. Yes, Sangeet, please ask. I'm saying you, please ask. What does it is creating the object, right? It is creating the object. Just how we create an object for any particular class, scanner is also a class, and we're just creating an object, something like this. Scanner sc equals to new of scanner, same. So whenever you want to use a class, you have to create an object, and this is what we did. We created an object of a scanner class so that we can use all the functions. And by using the object, we called all its functions. Simple. Sangeet. So whenever you want to use a class and its functions, you have to create the object of a class. So we created scanner classes object as sc, and then after that we can From ST, we can call anything. Simple. Fine. Let's move ahead. So now let's do some very basic programming controls. Just try to understand very basic programming controls. So let's move ahead with something called as conditions. And this is like one of the easiest topics. So let's try to understand it. Now, whoever who doesn't know this, don't worry. I'm going to explain it very properly. Let's just try to understand it. So now, conditions are basically in each and every programming language. You need some kind of conditions. Now, there might be cases. Please try to understand it. Now, there might be cases in Java programming or in any kind of programming language where you want to execute some code based on a particular condition. For example, you want to send an email if the age of the user is 24. You want to send a password if the age of the user is 45. You want to perform some operation based on some condition. So there might be cases in programming where you want to perform some kind of operation based on a condition. And that's where something called as conditions, or let's say conditional statements, come into play. There might be a lot of cases where you want to perform any kind of code or any operation based on some conditions. So there you have something called as conditional statements. And there are very basic two keywords that are available in all the programming languages which help you to write conditional statements. And that are if and else. These are the two keywords that will help you to write conditions in Java. These are the two very important keywords that will help you to write any kind of conditions in Java. So basically, let's try to understand how to write a condition. So let's say if there is a code, something like this, I am output. Let's just take an sample. I am output. Let's say this is a very, very important code that I want to execute based on some condition. Try to understand it. Let's say this is a very, very important code that I want to execute based on some condition. So now how to perform, how to make it understand, you have to execute yourself based on a condition. So what you have to do is you have to use this keyword. Whenever you want to write a condition in Java, you always have to use an if statement, if keyword. So the syntax is like this. This is how you write it. If parenthesis and whatever condition you have, that will learn what can you put here. But let's just understand like this. Whatever condition, then the block. And then you can just put your code in that block. Now, whatever code is inside this particular block will only get executed if this condition is true. Conditions only have two outputs. Either they are true or they are false. Conditions only have two outputs. Either they are true or they are false. So if this condition becomes true, this whole block will get executed. If this becomes false, this block will be skipped and we'll move ahead. Is it simple? If this condition becomes true, this whole block will be executed and then we'll move ahead. If this condition becomes false, we'll just skip the block and we'll move ahead. That's all. Yes, it only gives true or false, the Boolean values. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? Now, how to write conditions? So basically, in any programming language, writing condition is very simple. Basically, all your conditions depend on your data. And data is stored in a variable. So in your conditions, you'll always use variables. Remember one thing, all your conditions are dependent on some kind of input or some kind of data. And basically your input and data are stored in a variable. So your conditions are always based on variables. So let's say I have a variable integer num that is the value of 5. And now let's just write if num. So I'm writing some basic operators right now. In tomorrow's or Monday's session, I'll also explain the operator. So let's try. So it's like here, you just write if num is, let's say, greater than, or let's say, fine, let's say greater than 5. So if num is greater than 5, print this. Now, as you can see, it is a basic sample. I'll explain it once again. Now, as you can see, my num is 5, and I have written my condition as if num is greater than 5. So what this condition will return? I'm writing num is greater than 5. Now, if you just try to execute this condition in your mind, num is not greater than 5. It is equal to 5. So this condition will basically return false, right? Num is equal to 5. Num is, okay, fine. It's, sorry, I just wrote less than. So num is, I've written if num is less than 5 and my num is not less than 5, it is equal to 5. So this condition will return false. So let's see. Let's see if it is working. If I'm able to print it. And if that condition is false, it should not be printed. Let's see if it is getting printed. If it gets printed, we are wrong. See, the code has been finished, but there is no output. That basically means we have done, like, this returned false and this was not executed. Now let's make it true. Let's try to compare it. So in programming languages, when you want to compare anything for equality, you don't use equal to, because equal to is used for assignment. Equal to is used for assignment of values that I'll cover when I'll explain you the operators concept. But just right now, understand that equal to in programming languages is used for assignment. So when you want to compare it, when you want to compare for equality, when you want to check if something is equal, you use double equals to. Simple. So if num is equal to 5. So basically, if num is, it said like if num is equal to 5. So now my num is actually 5, right? So this condition will be true because num is equal to 5. Now let's see. This should be printed. Let's see. No, Sripati, there is no next string. See, I have my output now. Pretty simple. Now the condition was true. Is it simple now? Easy, right? So whenever you want to write conditions, the operators that will help you to write conditions are this. These are conditional operators. You have less than, you have greater than, you have less than equal to, you have greater than equal to, and you have equal to, and finally you have not equal to. These are the operators that will help you to write conditions. Less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to. This is for equal to, and this is not equal to. So these are the operators that will help you to write conditions. So I'll go like this. Whenever I'll write a program based on something, I'll explain the operators right away. So now we are learning conditions. That's why I just wrote all the conditional operators. So by this way, you don't have to mug up all the operators. You will understand the very basic use and the need of the operators. So always remember, double equal to is used for equality test. Single equal to is for assignment. Just like here, we use single equal to for assignment. And a single operator can't be used for like two operations. That's why in programming languages, double equal to is made. Is it clear, everyone? Yeah, and or, we are going to use that. Yes, but right now, like, they are the logical operators. They are used when we require two conditions. And that thing I'm not explaining it right now. We'll use it in some program, then I'll explain that. Right now, these are just the comparison operators, simple conditional operators. Those are the logical operators, and or. I'll explain it, don't worry. Fine. So now I've solved one problem, but I have a new problem now. What if I want to execute something if my condition is wrong? This is like, okay, fine. If this condition is right, do this. If this condition satisfies, do this. What if I want to perform something when my condition is wrong? And in that case, we use something called as else keyword. And any if keyword can have a else keyword. So you use only if when you just want to like perform something based on a condition. But when you want to perform something based on right condition and based on wrong condition, you can use else with if. And remember, wherever your if ends, that is the only place where you can put else. You cannot write any kind of code between them. Then else is wrong. Else is only returned with if. So wherever your if ends, at same place you write else. And else has no condition. Else totally depends on this condition. It waits for this condition to become false. So now if this condition is true, it will be executed. And if this condition is false, whatever is written inside else block will be executed. So let's write again SOUT. I am on wrong. Don't worry, we're going to use all of this in our future projects. Just for now, I'm explaining it. Simple. Now my num is 5. So basically my condition is true. So if block will be executed. That I know because I just tested it. Let's make this condition wrong. Let's make this num as 6. And now we can see num is equal to 5 will make false, will emit false. And that's why we're going to use this. This else will be executed. Let's try. Let's try if this is happening. Let's see. Let's wait. Fine. Can you see the output? I am on wrong condition because my condition was false. Is it simple, everyone? Are we understanding this? Is it simple? Okay. And don't worry, by the same example, we're also going to learn loops. If you have like doubts in loops or you never understood loops, not a problem. Just focus on this. With the same example, we'll learn everything. Just see how we get it. Now, there also might be cases where you might be having multiple conditions, right? There also might be cases where we are having multiple conditions like, okay, fine, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. And if none of them happen, do something else. So there might be cases where there are 4 conditions and you want only one to be executed. There might be like cases where you have 4 or 5 conditions and you only want to execute one of them. In that case, we have 2 options, but the first option that we'll use is by using the if else only. So now let's say I want to execute something if num is equal to 5. I want to perform something else if num is equal to 6. And I want to perform something else if num is equal to 7. What can I do? So you have something called as else if. Remember, wherever you write conditions, you have to write if. So they have made it else if because you cannot write conditions in else. Now you can just go and write num is equal to 6 and perform something. And again, you can have else if. So this is for multiple conditions. Num is equal to 7 and you have another. And then finally, if this condition goes wrong, it will come to this. If this goes wrong, it will come to this. And if everyone goes wrong, else will be executed. Is it simple, everyone? Let's try. Let's say I am 5. If it is 6, let's say I am 6. And if it is 7, let's say I am 7. And if it is not 5, 6, or 7, just come to else. So this is a single statement. This is a complete single statement working with multiple conditions, working with 3 conditions. And if all 3 are wrong, it will come to else. And they are written like this together. Don't write any code between them. Is it clear? Is it simple to understand? I hope it is. Right? Writing conditions is one of the simplest thing in any programming language. Yes, you can use it, Roshan, not a problem. Let's try to execute this. Let's try to execute this. So now my input was 6, right? The data that we had was 6. So let's see what we get in the output. So now I'm 6. Simple. So it checked for the first condition, it was wrong. So it came to the second condition, it was right and done. And everything else was skipped. That's how it works. Is it clear? Disha, I don't understand your doubt, sir. Character or integer options. Now, if you want, you can also take input from user here. Do one thing. Just remove this and let's take input from user. We learned it right now, right? The system enter a number. Let's take num equals sc dot next int. Simple. Oh, we don't have the scanner class, right? So let's create object. Scanner sc equals new of. So this is the scanner class object, and we have to mention, right, from which input stream you have to take the input to scanner class. So system dot input stream. So that basically is in. And that's all. So now first it will do, it will ask for a number. We put a number and then after that it will execute. Now our conditions are dynamic. Is it clear? Let's see. It will first take the input and then it will check for the conditions. So let's see if it is working. So let's put 7 and 7, right? Let's execute it once again. Let's put something that is not in the conditions. So let's put 90. See, I'm on the wrong condition. Is it clear? Is it clear, everyone? But there is one more way of doing it that I'm not explaining right now. I'm explaining when there is some kind of use and there is some kind of difference. Basically, there is something called a switch case. There's something called a switch case that I explain when it is required, so that you should understand when to use this kind of statement and when to use switch case. So don't worry about it. If you know switch case, that's totally fine. So if you know switch case, totally fine. If you don't know, not a problem. I'll explain switch case when it is properly required, when we have to understand the difference between both. So don't worry about it. Is it simple? Is it understood? Okay, let's do one thing. Let's do it right now. Let's do it right now. Right? Let's do it right now. So let's say, actually, I want, let's say this is not a number. Let's say this is a percentage. Let's say this is a percentage. Actually, it not depends on performance. Actually, it is like, it has some kind of performance, but there is something else that is the main difference between them. Let's see. So let's make it percentage and let's make it percentage. So user will input its percentage. And now I don't want to check only for 5 or 6. I want to check if percentage is greater than equal to 70, let's say 70. Okay. I'll explain the switch case right now, not a problem. Let's say you have a grade. Simple. Percentage is greater than equal to 50. You have the grade. I'll also explain you the problem with this. Percentage is greater than 35, equal to greater than equal to 35. That means greater than or equal to. You have C grade. And if it has nothing, see the example, you are failed. Please study, don't play. Simple. Is it clear, everyone? Now, what I wanted to explain you is multiple if statement, like ifs are best used when we want to check for ranges, like when a value belongs in ranges, like greater than 70, so that can be anything, so like greater than 50, so above 50. So when you want to work with a range of values, like if I write percentage greater than equal to 50, in that case I mean 50 or above, so that can be 50, 51, 53, 54, 55, 100, something like that. So basically you use multiple if or you use if when you want to work with a range of values at once, when you want to work with a range of value at once. Is it understood? Is it understood now? Alex, I'm explaining the difference, don't worry. Now let's try to execute. Please focus here, we have a very big problem right now. This session will be continued for next 10 to 15 minutes, so don't worry, Monica. I want to explain you a very big problem, then I'll explain the switch case. So please try to understand. Let's see, let's execute this. Let's execute this then. Fine. Now let's put 51 and see what we get. Perfect. You have B grade. Let's execute this once again. Let's put 76. Perfect. You have A grade. Now let's do one thing. Let's put this condition at the first, because this if statement works in a sequence. Because this if statement works in a sequence. Now see, I have returned percentage greater than equal to 50. And at the second condition, I have returned percentage greater than equal to 70. Now, see, you'll understand every problem with this if statement. See it now. Save it. Yes, PSPK, you're right. Now see, if I put 76, I'm getting B grade, because this conditional statements work in a sequence and I'm checking for 50 first. And that's why if I put 76, this condition is like have proved correct here only. So it doesn't go in the next one. So that's why I have got B grade. So this program is programmatically correct, but logically it is wrong. Getting my point? This program is logically incorrect. So that basically means I have to always follow a sequence. I cannot write conditions anywhere, and that is a problem. I have to always follow a sequence. I have to always go in a decreasing order, and I don't want to do that. This program should be that much correct that I can write any conditions anywhere. And for that, you have to make this program logically correct. And for that, you have to write multiple conditions in a single if statement. You have to write multiple conditions in a single if statement. So now you have to mention it like, oh, fine. B grade should be only when the percentage is greater than equal to 50 and less than 70. Getting my point? B grade should be only when the percentage is greater than equal to 50 and less than 70. And for that, to write multiple conditions in a single if statement, you have logical operators. Those are and or. So these are the logical operators. And or, right? And you also have not, but not is like used a lot of like everywhere. So right now, just focus on and or. So now let's move ahead. Comment this out and let's see how to write multiple conditions in a single if statement. You can just write and. It is double and. It is a formation. You have to use double and. Not a problem. Percentage is greater than equal to 50 and percentage is less than 70. That basically means there is 69. You can also write less than equal to 69, or you can just write less than 70. It will be 69. Is it clear? And now I have written and here because if you have learned math sometime, you know it that if you write or, in or, if I have two conditions, if any one is true, the whole statement will be true. And if in and, if one is true and one is false, everything will be false. And right now I want both to be true. So check if only both true, then make the whole statement true. And that's why I'm using and operator. Is it clear? Just like, yeah, perfect, truth table. And you can just now go here and write and, here's my and, percentage is less than equal to 100. And percentage is less than equal to 49 because we have till 50. And now this is perfect. Now it doesn't matter in what sequence I write in, because if I put 76, it will not satisfy this condition. Because if I write 76, it will satisfy this condition. That it is okay, fine, it is greater than 50. But this will become false because it is not less than 70. So this whole statement will become false. And I'll get to the next one. So when you want to work with a range of values, that's where you use multiple if statements. And now let's see if it is working. So now this program is logically correct. Now let's see if it is working. Now let's put 76. Is it? You have A grade. So now this program is perfect. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? Are we cleared with this? I hope it is clear to everyone. Okay, let's see the last thing for today. That's what we did earlier. Yes, we can use break. Yes, but right now I'm not introducing it Lambodar. We'll use it when you're using loop. Not a problem. Actually, I'll explain it in switch. Not a problem. So now, so ifs are basically used when you have a range of values. But when you only want to compare a single value, like if it is 1, if it is 2, if it is 3, so if basically takes a little time to get executed. So only if you want to check only a single value, so try to avoid if, because there is something else made for it. There is something else made to check single values. Because if has a little execution time, that's why to check single values, like if it is 1, if it is 2, if it is 3, don't use if else. Let's say if I have num again, and I only want to check for single values. Instead of if, you can use something called as switch. Switch means change. So there is a switch statement available. And now in the switch statement, you can pass whatever variable you want to check. I want to check num. Now open, close, and switch works in cases. So you can just write case 1 or case 45, 34 or case 23. Remember, if you go on any online website, there is always written case 1, case 2, case 3. A lot of people think that this is a sequence to write case 1, case 2, case 3. It's not a sequence. When you write case 1, that basically means it is trying to check if num is equal to 1. If I write case 56, it is trying to check if num is equal to 56. So case 1, 2, 3 is not depend on sequence. You can write anything. You can start with case 100. It doesn't matter. It is basically, whenever you write a case something, it is basically the value of number. Is it clear? Is it clear? I'll share these files. Today. Don't worry. So now I can just go and write if case 2. And now how to write it? Colon. And again, you just write like brackets. Come down, and you can now put whatever statement you want. Please focus. There's a little problem in this that I want to make you understand. Case 2, and then again, let's say case 4, and then finally, if all of the cases wrong, just like if all of the conditions are wrong, you have an else. Same in switch case, if all of the cases are wrong, you have something called as default. All the cases are false. It's simple. Now let's comment our if for some time so that you can only see this case and everything. So let's comment this out. And let's move this num down for a second. But it is everywhere. Now see. Right now let's make on num2. So I know that this first case will be right and this will be printed. Please focus. Let's see everyone. I know that is missing, but you have to see why the break is required, right? You have to check first why break is required. You always have to know why things are required. You just don't have to write anything. So let's see. So my number is 2, so it should print. Yes, negative numbers can be used. See, you have IM2, that was in the first case. You have IM2 again, that was in the second case, and you have also printed the default case. Basically means even if only one case was correct, all the cases are printed. And this is something that is known as fall through in switch statement. This is fall through in switch statement. This is a by default feature of switch. So remember this name, fall through in switch statement. So whenever you don't stop switch case by yourself explicitly, all the cases are executed. So wherever your case is correct, it skips all the cases until it finds a correct case, and from there it executes each and every case. It first finds the case where it is satisfying the condition, and from there it executes everything. And if you want to stop it, yes, I'll just make it 4. If you want to stop it, you have to use something called as break statement. Break is basically a keyword available in a programming language to break the current flow of the program, to break the current switch in this case. So break basically breaks the current flow of the block. It always breaks the current block. In this case, it will break the switch. So you have to add it everywhere. If you want, you can add it in default, or if you want, you can just leave it, because this is the last statement. So if default is getting executed, that is the last statement, not a problem. There's nothing ahead it. And now it is fine. So always use a break in switch. Otherwise, you will be a victim of fall through of switch statement. It will just execute it each and every case from where it is correct. Now that's perfect. Remember one thing, you use switch case whenever you only want to take a single value, like, okay, fine, if it is 2, if it is 3, if it is 4. It is basically very fast, so you don't have to use if statements. Now let's see. It is again a conditional statement. Switch is also a conditional statement. So now my case is 2. Let's see what is happening. And done. And done. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear, everyone? No. Parenthesis is not required. Yes, fall through like waterfall, exactly. Is it clear, everyone? Now, before ending the session, let's just understand one last thing that will continue in the next lecture. So these were the conditional statements that basically whenever you want to execute something based on a condition. I'll explain, we have time, I'll take 5 minutes. I just want to explain a very simple example of loop so that in next lecture it is very easy to understand. Because right now we have a perfect platform. Now, let's try to understand one thing. There is something called as, there's no difference, Pallavi, it is just a keyword, both are the keywords available, both are used for conditional statements. So if is used whenever you have a set of values. Like, okay, fine, I want to check if it is greater than 50 and less than this. So whenever I have a set of value, switch is used only when you only want to check a single value. Like, okay, fine, if it is 2, if it is 3, if it is 4, something like that. Yes, you can use any data type switch, not a problem, until unless it is a single value. Fine. I'll explain, don't worry, I'll explain. You just have to create an account on GitHub and upload it. That's all. If you are unable to upload your assignments, don't worry, you just keep them creating and you can upload all at once. Not a problem. Not a problem. Now let's just check, because there are a lot of people I have seen that they don't understand loops. They know like it is working, but they don't understand. So let's try to understand loops in a simple way possible. Now see, what is a loop? Let's try to understand what is a loop. So when you think of loop, anything that is circle comes in your mind. So same in programming. There is something called as a loop available in programming languages. There is something called as a loop available in programming languages which repeats itself again and again. This is the by default feature of the loop. Loop is something in programming languages that has the ability to repeat or execute itself again and again. This is what loop is. It is something which repeats itself again and again. For example, if I have a loop, let's say loop is a keyword. Let's try to assume that loop is a keyword. And if it has a block and you write some code here, what will happen is, as this is a loop, the by default feature of a loop is whatever block it has to execute it again and again. So what will happen? It will execute this code again and again. It will just keep repeating, just going down to up, up to down, down to up, up to down. It will just keep repeating itself again and again, just like that. Until unless you stop it with some condition, you break it with some condition. So remember this thing, loop in a programming language is something which executes itself again and again. And if you put some kind of code in a block, like in the loop block, it will execute that code again and again, and it will keep executing it till infinite. It will just keep executing it. Remember this thing. Everyone just try to understand. I'll explain you, don't worry. Saista, when you want to compare single value, you always use switch because it is much faster. But when you want to use compare multiple values or in a range values, simple. You have to use if because you cannot use switch there. Is it clear, everyone? Is it clear? So just understand it like this, that loop is basically something that repeats itself again and again. And if you put some code in it, it will repeat the code. Now, if you want to break a loop, you have to put some kind of condition in there. Just like my if statement, right? We also had an if statement. It has a condition. It had a condition, right? It had a condition. And it also had some code. Now, these both look a lot similar, right? These both look a lot similar. So what happens in if? It comes down here. If the condition is true, it goes inside, executes this block, and comes out. This is what happens with if. If the condition is wrong, it just skips the if. Simple, it just skips the block. Same in loop. If the condition is wrong, you skip the block. But if the condition is right, go inside, execute the code, but now there's a change. In if, after executing the block, it goes outside. But in a loop, after executing the block, it again goes up, checks the condition, and if it is right, again comes inside and executes the block. And then again goes up, checks the condition, and again comes inside. If it is true, again execute. So after ending the execution, it has to go up. It doesn't get out. It has to go up, and then again check the condition. This is how a loop works. Is it clear? Is it clear? Are we clear to the concept at least? We are not learning loops today. I just wanted you to understand because we learned if and they both were a little similar. That's why I just wanted to make you understand what loops are. Don't worry. I'll show you how to do that. Don't worry. Have we understood the concept at least? So loop will execute itself again and again. That is the by default feature. So we have to learn how to break it in the next lecture. But just like understand this, that loop is something that will execute itself again and again. Yes, we have ternary. I'll explain it. Don't worry, Pranay. I'm giving an assignment. I'm giving an assignment. Don't worry. I'm giving an assignment. Yes. So don't worry. I'll explain loop in the next lecture. I just wanted to like understand you people because we have already learned if and it looks a lot similar. They look a lot similar. Okay, fine. Now let's see. Okay, fine. Let's ask something. Do you people have any doubts or I resolved all your doubts? Or I was able to resolve all your doubts? Please tell me. I can give 5 minutes to doubt. Don't worry about your assignments. Just keep doing them. Just keep doing them. And once you complete all the assignments, you can just upload it. I'll show you. I'll once in a session, I'll take 5 minutes and show you how to upload them. Don't worry. In one session, I'll take some time and show you how to upload your assignments. Don't worry. Shreya, I'll not explain it today how to upload on GitHub. Don't worry. I'll take one session. I'll take 5 minutes in the session to explain how to upload your assignments. Till then, just keep doing assignments and save it in your computer. Don't worry about it. Everyone, don't worry. I'll take Mondays. In Monday's lecture, I'll explain. At the very start, I'll explain how to upload assignment. Don't worry. Okay, fine. So now I'm writing the assignment for you people. If you want, you can take screenshots or something, or you can write it somewhere. I'm writing the assignment here. Yes, the session is over. I'm writing the assignment. Yes, Muhammad Ali, I'll do it. Don't worry, I'll do it. I'm not leaving with anything. Don't worry. Yes, on Monday, we are going to start a simple project. Fine. So your assignment is what I want. I've just create a simple class and a main function. Not a problem at all. Take 5 subject marks from user. It's a very simple assignment. You might have already done it. Shubham Bartwal, please don't spam the chat. Buddy, I also already explained it. Please go and watch the previous video, creation clouding. Please go and watch the previous video. I have explained class and objects. Saista, it depends. It depends. Switch is better when you want to check single values. And if is better when you want to check range of values. Once I show you how to upload it, then I'll extend the deadline. Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Please don't worry about it. I'll ask people to extend the deadline once I'll explain how to upload the project. Don't worry. Yeah, not a problem, Siddhi, not a problem. I'll explain. So let's see today's assignment now. Please check out the assignment. Actually, this is a little simple. You might have already. Let's make it a little complex. What you can do is fine. See. Okay, fine. See, do this only. I just don't want to give anything complex till we do the project. Fine. Take 5 subject marks, right? Simple. And then each is 100 marks. Right? Calculate the percentage. Right? Please see here. Please see here. Don't worry. I'm giving two questions. It is the simpler one that everyone can do it. I feel the next one is a little tough. Just see. And based on the percentage, print the grade and the percentage. So this is the first one. This is the first one, right? The next one is take employee name, age, and salary, right? Take employee name and salary from user, and if the annual salary is above 5 lakhs, I have to pay 20% tax. If it is above 4 lakh, I have to pay 15%. And you also have to show the amount. If the salary is above 3 lakh, I have to pay 10% amount, right? And if it is about 2 lakh, I want to pay 5% tax. And if it is just like below 2 lakh, no tax at all. So what I want people to do here is take employee's name, age, and salary, and when you display name, age, annual salary, and the tax amount. And when you take it monthly salary. And fine, one more thing. Don't take age. Take birth year. So take day of birth, like the date of birth, month of birth, birth year. So this is the second assignment. And display the age. Clear? Don't worry, I'll change the deadlines. Don't worry. Yeah, Priyam, it might be easy for some, but it's not easy for everyone. And remember, in the next lecture, we are going to create a quiz application. That is our first simple project that will just take like 1 hour to create. I'll create it for you. So in the next lecture, we are going to create a quiz application, a complete quiz application with negative marking and positive marking, everything. First, we'll learn loops, then we'll make a quiz application. Is it clear, everyone? In the next lecture, we're going to create a complete quiz application with negative marking, positive marking, complete score, and everything. Yes, you can submit, Vijay. First, like complete every assignment. I'll increase the deadline. I'll ask the people to like, I'll check. And in the next session, I'll also take 5 minutes to show you how to upload your assignments. Don't worry. So I hope you people noted the assignment. These are the 2 assignments that you have to do. Remember, I want to display age of the employee. Take date of birth, birth year, and month of birth, and display the age of the employee. Hope you all noted the assignment. These are the 2 assignments that you have to perform. Is it clear? I have written the logic, right? You have to tell that's Mansi. That's what you have to do. Let's see how you can do it. Let's see how you can do it. I'll show you. I'll show you in the next session how to upload. No, Lambodar, we are not using Swing. You just have to use normal Java. Yes, Mohammad Ali Ansari. I'll explain it in the next lecture. We have a lot to do. Don't worry. Here in this case, if you read the question properly, we don't have to like check current date or something. Here we don't need any date function. That's why I just wrote it like this. You have to take the date of birth like 2, month of birth like 4, and birth year. That's why I wrote it like this and not taking a single date, because I don't want you take a complete date from user. I want you people to take 3 different values: date, month, and year. And in that case, you don't have to use any date. That's my promise. You don't have to use any date. And you can calculate the age. Just see how to do it. I'll post it on the community. I'll post this question on the community today. Don't worry. Wait, I'll just post it right now. You can see it. Anyone who is unable to find me, this is how you do it. Yes, you have to fetch user input for both. I'm posting the questions there. My username is sgupta8mz. Next lecture on Monday. Okay, I've posted the questions. You can do it now. Very simple Java questions. Very basic ones. My username is sgupta8mz. I think this is my username. If I go in my profile, maybe you can see. See, this is my username, sgupta8mz. sgupta8mz. Simple. Yes, you can do it. You can do it. Sripati, you can do it. You can upload it there also. I have to check actually. I don't know about like a lot about the uploading assignments thing. I have to ask few people, then I'll definitely answer. And in Monday session, I'll definitely take 5 to 10 minutes to explain to people how to upload assignments and where to upload it properly. Don't worry about it, people. Don't worry about it. I hope you people enjoyed today's session, right? Do you have any doubts coming? Yes, the class is over. The class is over. Mohan, okay. Okay, be here. I'll explain you yesterday's assignment. It was simple, right? I think it was very, very simple. Sripati, yes, whatever the thing is, I'll just ask few people and then I'm definitely going to show you how to do that. Don't worry. Yes, you have to submit assignments. Thank you, Villain. Thank you, Villain, for joining in. Okay, someone is asking about the yesterday's assignment. So let's see how to do that. It was very, very simple. I just told you to like take a name and maybe an age. Sorry. And then I just told you to create two objects and display name and age, right? Something like this. Whoever was asking about extra assignment, this was what you have to do. A very basic class employee which has two variables and display function is printing them both. Now, inside my main.java, I have to create two objects. Employee e1 equals new of employee. And I have to set e1 dot, okay, I have to make, okay, it's available. E1 dot name, they are not public. Okay, they are not public. Let's make them public so that they are accessible. I just wrote EL, sorry for that. That was not E1. So I can just write Saurabh and E1 dot age 25. And finally, E1 dot display. Simple. Same for a new object. If you create a new object, same. Create object E2, E2, simple. This was yesterday's assignment that we completed. That's so simple. You can just change the name if you want. Let's make it Prasad. So I have one object whose name is Saurabh. I have a second object whose name is Prasad. So single class which has name and age and displaying name and age, and then two objects. Name an age set, display call. Name an age set, display call. Simple. Is it clear? I think someone was asking about this doubt. So I hope everyone enjoyed it. Test every weekend or at the end of the course. Test will be happening at the end of the course, PSPK. So don't worry about PSPK. So I hope you will enjoy it, right? So ready for the next session, we are going to create a quiz application. Tips is basically you have to practice a lot, Abhirami. You have to practice a lot. So you have to learn and then you have to practice and then you have to make new versions. Like I did something like this. Then you have to try to find out, okay, fine, is there any other way to perform setting operations to a variable? So you have to search, you have to keep searching. So first learn something from here or from anywhere else, and then practice it, and then try to change it in some way, and then again practice it. That is what will make you like perfect or good in that thing. That's all. It's all about practice. At first, you will not understand everything, but you will understand everything very, very slowly. But it will be good. I'll try. I'll try PSPK. Don't worry. I'll try to get it done. Multi-threading. So that is the only tip, Abhirami. You have to practice a lot. At start, it will look slow, but at some point of time, you'll understand. Okay, fine. I did a lot of things now. Tips: try to learn the front end and back end first. Try to learn it, then after that you can like practice it and become anything. But first you have to start with it. So try to learn HTML and CSS, then try to learn JavaScript. So complete your front end like that, and then come to back end. First choose a technology, and then after that start working on it properly. Because there are different variations for working in back end and front end. So first you have to choose. You have to see what suits you. Yes, we'll consider the assignment. Not a problem. We'll consider. Every approach is approach. But yes, we'll see like next time you get the proper approach done. We'll explain you how it is done properly and how it can be done in a more better way. That's fine, Akash. It's totally fine because I'm the one who will be like teaching merge stack course of full stack development. So if you haven't learned JavaScript, first go and learn the JavaScript essentials taught by me. We'll find it on the YouTube channel. That is free. So just learn that JavaScript course and then you can join the merge stack course. I'll be teaching that, Akash. Karthik, tips to learn data structures. First, try to understand arrays. Try to work on arrays. JavaScript done, then you're ready for joining merge stack. We'll learn great. Don't worry. We have a lot of projects planned. Karthik, I was answering you that first try to work with arrays. Work with them a lot. Try to play loops. Try to write ifs in between. Try to work with arrays. And once you are good with arrays, then data structure will be surely easy for you. Yes, PSPK, I teach them. Yes. I have to ask Goku. I have to ask Goku, Sayan. Don't worry, I have to ask. But at least for now, just keep completing it and then I'll take all your assignments. Don't worry. That's amazing, Akash. That's amazing. You're learning a lot of things. That's amazing. Happy that you're doing a lot of things on Let's Upgrade. Fine. Do we have any doubts coming today? So hope you enjoyed. I think we can close this session now. I don't have laptop. I can submit assignment. Not a problem, Vishnu Priya. If you have like completed the code in your mobile, you can just save that file and then you can just upload it from your mobile also. GitHub is also available for mobile. So don't worry about it. Just keep saving your files in your mobile phone. Bye-bye, Priyam. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Kriti, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can we end the stream?
Yes, yes. Now we can end this session. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you so much.